We're seeing an exceeded amount of official deaths of 70,000 on Christmas Day. Now more areas have gone into Tier 4 restrictions, including stay-at-home orders. Have they given any indication as to how long these restrictions will last, Professor?
Well, it's not very clear. On the one hand, there is also a lockdown in Scotland, Tier 4 in Scotland, as well as in Northern Ireland. In Scotland, they claim it'll be for 3 weeks, but Boris Johnson has indicated that he doesn't see why the restrictions won't stay in place until spring, when everybody's supposedly vaccinated.
And talk us through the vaccinations, because they certainly started rolling out a number of weeks ago, but we're also hearing about this new strain, which is also putting pressure on borders and other countries certainly being allowed to come into the UK, and your tough restrictions as well, and getting a negative test to go to the US.
Yes, that's right, Jenny. The restrictions are increasingly on British residents traveling abroad. Nobody wants the new strain, and I think in the last 48 to 72 hours, Japan, Sweden, Spain, Australia, and a number of other places that have found this the new strain and is appearing in their countries. So this is likely to lead to everyone demanding that anyone leaving the United Kingdom must have a COVID-19 test before they board a plane or a train or anything else. This is becoming quite strict. And I think that they're discouraging people coming to the United Kingdom for the same reason. Although I suppose in a way it doesn't matter whether people come into the country unaffected and leave, but leaving is the problem. It really is turning into an island state.
Professor, the UK government's furlough scheme has been extended until April. Are there any other systems in place to provide financial assistance to people?
Well, this is the problem, is that the government is systematically running out of money. They found a magical money tree that Theresa May couldn't find in her time. And I think that they're playing this by ear, and hoping against hope that, and this is, I suppose, why Boris Johnson is telling people that the lockdown might last until March or April, is the idea that the government would like everyone to be vaccinated, or the majority of people to be vaccinated by the beginning of spring.
And I actually heard on Sky News UK this morning, Professor, that Brexit could hurt the economy more than the pandemic in the medium term. What do you make of that?
That's very likely. The pandemic will hopefully, fingers crossed, be addressed by the different vaccines, and we should see a full rollout by the summer, if not by autumn. But Brexit is unfortunately here to stay. Brexit will have an immediate hit of about 5 to 10% of cost, as a cost to manufacturing services, to all industries, because of the increased red tape. And this will, of course, affect unemployment quite considerably, and the small businesses that have relied on thin margins and rely on European markets. So we should see this working its way into the next 5 years. In the medium run, we should see about an additional 10% cut to GDP from Brexit. That's on top of the pandemic, which will probably be about 10% as well.
Professor, the 1,200 pages of the post-Brexit deal has been released. It's Boxing Day where you are. Did you spend Boxing Day just going through all of the pages? Can you give us an overview of what you have read so far?
I have to say that it was the least pleasant least pleasant way to spend Boxing Day. And I have a few highlights. I do know that the deal is actually just the beginning. The Brexit negotiations aren't over, because the Brexit deal, the key thing to take away from this is the Brexit deal only covers manufacturing. They haven't touched services, which represents 80% of the British economy and 40% of UK exports to the EU. So that's been untouched. And they've promised in the report somewhere, they say that this would be something they would like to begin negotiating with the intention of coming up with an agreement by March 2021. I very much doubt that will happen. What we have seen is that they've compromised on fishing, an industry that is really unimportant to the British economy. I read somewhere this morning that the fishing industry contributes less in terms of value added than the Harrods department store does. But fishing has been sorted out.
Okay, well, I'm sure you've got a few more pages to read of that and plenty more Brexit conversations. Finally, did you get a chance to enjoy your Christmas and Boxing Day?
As much as one can, looking at one's loved ones on Skype and WhatsApp. Socially distant Christmas with a very sad-looking Christmas tree, but with my girlfriend, so it wasn't all that bad.